And then it was Newcastle that took the lead after a foul at the edge of the area. Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary of the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's 1-1 between Spurs and Newcastle. An exciting first half. It took a little while to get going. Spurs seeing a lot of the ball but not really creating too many chances. Newcastle then are taking the lead after a great free kick through Fabian Schar, but Spurs are responding within just 4 minutes after a cross from Emerson headed in by Ben Davies. And that's how things start. There was just a little bit of afters at the end of the first half with the two benches having to be separated just as the teams were going off for half time, so we'll see whether any of that is left behind for the second half. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Joshua. I'll just get Josh's thoughts in a moment because Spurs are on the attack and straight away perhaps this is a continuation as a strong challenge there from Dan Burn on Harry Kane, and inside the first 30 seconds, Josh, we've already got a yellow card.
Yeah, straight away both teams going at it, and I tell you what, Dan Burn is not happy with Harry Kane. He's telling him that he's dived and that that it shouldn't be a yellow card, and he's not directing any anger at the referee. He's directing it straight at Harry Kane and saying, you fooled the referee there because that's not a yellow card. I'd have to see a replay of it. He's gone in strong for certain, Dan Burn, but like you say, it was a feisty end to that first half and it started straight away the same way.
Well, I mean, I think that he's unhappy there, Dan Burn, with Kane's reaction, but the slide from Burn is risky. Whether or not Kane has perhaps just amplified it slightly, Burn's encouraging that, and if it hadn't have been Kane, I think any other player in the Premier League would have reacted in the same way there.
Yeah, I think so.
So a free kick then to Spurs. It's about 40 yards out, just slightly over on the right-hand side. Newcastle have set up their offside line just at the edge of the D as the ball is whipped in by Son, headed away towards the edge of the area. Still kept alive here by Romero. He then plays it back towards Pierre Højbjerg. Long ball from Højbjerg into the penalty area. Kane was lurking, but Dubravka is there first. No changes at half-time, so it's Hugo Lloris in goal for Spurs with a back three of Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Ben Davies. The four across the middle, Matt Doherty, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pierre Højbjerg and Emerson Royal, with Dejan Kulusevski, Emerson and Harry Kane as the attacking three. For Newcastle, Martin Dubravka is in goal with a back four of Javi Manquillo, Fabian Schar, Dan Burn and Matt Targett. Three in midfield of Joe Willock, John Joe Shelby and Joe Linton, with Ryan Fraser, Alain Saint-Maximin and Chris Wood as the attacking three. It is Fabian Schar bringing the ball out now. For that's a terrible ball from Schar. He had all the time in the world. Switches play straight to Kulusevski and he plays it up to Kane, who's once again been stopped by Burn, but Kane keeps the ball, moves over towards the right-hand side, tries to pick out Son with a cross. Son's missed it, but it's in the back of the net with Doherty following up at the back post, and it's only taken 2.5 minutes of the second half and Spurs are in front.
Yeah, it all comes from that Fabian Schar pass. He's just completely mishit it and it goes straight to Kulusevski, and then it's just too easy from there. Newcastle have actually been very impressive defensively in that first half, and straight away in this second half they've just not looked anywhere near as strong as they were. The ball comes in and there's so much time at the back post, and so much space at the back post for Doherty to just easily tap it away. And I mean, it's Harry Kane once again. His passing has been phenomenal.
I'm going to criticise Dan Burn here because Dan Burn was worried too much about stopping Harry Kane at the edge of the box. When this cross comes in, 6'7" Dan Burn is just ball watching. He's nowhere near marking anybody. If he'd have left Kane and dropped a little bit deeper, there might have been a chance of him actually getting on the end of this. But as Son goes for it, I don't think he's touched it. I'm not quite sure why we're being shown that. I don't think there was any suggestion that Son had a touch on it. I don't think he was in an offside position either. But in any case, it has got through to Doherty, who's headed into the back of the net.
Yeah, look, he's done really well, Doherty, to get down and put it in the back of the net. I think maybe the Son, when he lifts his foot up to try and touch it, he doesn't manage to. I think actually that in turn puts off Fabian Schar, who then doesn't stick a foot out to try and stop it.
Well, we were getting replays of that goal from Spurs, and at the other end, Newcastle are going forward, and it drops to Chris Wood, who strikes it just past the post. We're getting off-tube pictures here, so we couldn't actually see how the move started. We were getting replays of the Spurs goal, and suddenly it's another one of those long balls from John Joe Shelby, brilliantly taken down on the chest by Wood, and he does well to get a shot away, but always a yard or two wide.
Yeah, he's not quite managed to get the purchase on it he'd like to, but that first touch is phenomenal from Chris Wood. It's a long, long ball from John Joe Shelby. He brings it down really well on his chest, and that's the exact reaction that Eddie Howe will have wanted out of his players, because they want to come out now and they want to do exactly what Tottenham did to them in the first half and go straight back and score a goal straight after they've conceded one. So they'll be hoping they can, but it's going to be a tough task against a team that, when they want to defend, are very good defensive teams.
They are. They absolutely are. And that is the problem now that Newcastle are going to find, is that with Spurs having this 2-1 lead, I don't think Spurs are going to shut up shop and sit back, but it obviously just means that Newcastle have to take a little bit more of a risk and potentially open up the middle of the park for Tottenham. It's the home side in possession now with Son. Rolls the ball all the way back towards his own penalty area, though. And now it's Romero bringing it forward. Just goes back towards Eric Dyer. And as I say, it will be frustrating there for Eddie Howe's side. Certainly looked organised in the first half, and it's just those fine margins. Just like in the earlier game today, we saw one bit of miscontrol from Alex Iwobi. That was enough for West Ham to go up the other end and score. Ended up being the winner. As Spurs now in possession, Kane with the ball over the top. It was the right idea. Kulusevski had a lot of space, but the pass from Kane just a bit overhit.
Yeah, he's trying to play that role that he's been playing recently in sort of the last season and a half, where he's not only the goal scorer but the creator for Tottenham as well, and he's been so important for them in that aspect, because really until the likes of Bentancur and Kulusevski came in, it was all him and Son. They had to do it all, but to have built up that ability and have the likes of those other players around, he's such an important and vital cog in that team, and Conte will be blessed to have him as part of it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all the traits of the striker with some of the passing ability of an excellent midfielder as well. As the ball now back with the Newcastle goalkeeper Martin Dubravka. Just strides out from his penalty area, rolls this ball towards Fabian Schar. As the visitors now just looking to try and consolidate a bit of possession again. One of those languishing balls there from Schar. This time it does reach its target of Joelinton. And he plays it back towards Sam Maximan, under pressure there from Højbjerg. Just by the centre circle there, Sam Maximan back towards Schar. Now it's with Manquillo down the right-hand side. Plays it into Ryan Fraser. Didn't see enough of him in the first half, I think. And that, I suppose you could actually say that about his time at Newcastle so far. He's not really got into it as much as you would expect, because he certainly showed plenty of glimpses at Bournemouth. Yeah,
no, he's not quite managed to reach the level I think Newcastle fans would have liked him to. I think he's quite a one-footed player, which is why we've not seen much of him in this game. I think he's been put onto his right foot a lot, and he struggles to even make a fairly simple pass with his right foot because he's so heavily left-footed. There are plenty of players like that in the Premier League, and he is one of them. But he has to play an important role in this team, because I think if you look at Ryan Fraser, he's not quite performing. Who do you put on the wing for Newcastle? You've got Sam Maximan, but you need someone on the other side. And you look at the bench today, so you play Dwight Gale possibly off that side, or it's hard to know exactly who.
Yeah, I mean, Gale is potentially one option, perhaps Jacob Murphy. But again, Jacob Murphy is another player who has bags of potential, but never really quite shows it on the pitch consistently enough. And I think he's certainly been at Newcastle long enough now to have tried to get a first-team place. Rarely gets the start. There was a great long ball from Shelby, and Lloris comes out but doesn't make the save. Joelinton then hooks the ball in. Perhaps took a little bit too long. Then the ball then strikes Emerson on the side. Joe Willock then wins the ball back, but the referee has decided. Was that a foul by Willock, or there might have been an offside in the build-up to it? I didn't think there was too much that Joe Willock did wrong there. But once again, it's these great balls from Shelby as the ball is played. I think Joelinton's probably just about onside, but Lloris comes out and gets nowhere near it.
Yeah, he makes the wrong decision as well. So Lloris comes out, Joelinton manages to get it down and gets straight past him, but he takes it out too far wide to be able to get a shot off himself, and then he's basically got to make a decision. Do I play this ball over the top to Chris Wood to try and find a header, or do I pull it back where there's players running into the box? And if he'd have pulled it back, I think that's probably 2-2 if it's not offside. But in the end, he goes for a looping ball over to Chris Wood, and he can't even reach the cross.
No. Again, it was a bit disappointing, really, but that's at least promising for Newcastle, but also a warning for Spurs. I mean, it was just a long ball from Shelby on the halfway line. It shouldn't have put Spurs into the sort of position that it did. But now it's the home side trying to go on the attack with a good ball down the right-hand side. Kulusevski puts the ball in. Son with a chance, and it's 3-1. There were almost too many Spurs players there. Doherty almost got in Son's way, but Spurs now have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, it's too easy for Tottenham now in terms of an attacking point of view. Newcastle have committed so many men forward in those last few moments trying to push for that goal, and it's too easy for them to get into behind. Dan Burn was doing everything he could to get back, but he didn't have the pace, he didn't have the movement to be able to get back in time to block the cross. And when it comes into the box, Heung-min Son has got all the time in the world to put it in the back of the net. And I would normally say that there is only one player on that pitch that you would want to be there, it'd be Son. But actually, in Tottenham's case, you'd probably want it to be Harry Kane. But other than that, in any other game, there's no one else you'd want in for a goal in that position.
Well, Doherty might be a bit annoyed because he was probably thinking, I'm going to get a quick brace here at the start of the second half. But Son gets there first, and if Son's not going to miss, Son's not going to miss from that sort of position. He had a good first touch, and then a nice left-footed finish past Dubravka. And Newcastle just paying the price for being a little bit too open at the back.
Absolutely, and it's a serious uphill battle now for Newcastle.
Antonio Conte there celebrating like he just won the Champions League, but that's the way he is. He goes from being furious and sort of downtrodden 1 minute to being absolutely delighted the next. A very emotional manager, as you said. 14 goals now, 14 Premier League goals for Heung-min Son this season. Straight from the kickoff, Newcastle lose the ball, and Kane's away now, getting towards the edge of the area. Joe Linton goes into the back of him. That is a foul against Joe Linton, and Kane straight away telling the referee, what about a second yellow? And there won't be a second yellow. Kane can't believe it, but I'm just thinking, is that enough for a second yellow there for Joe Linton?
Look, it's a promising attack, that's for certain. I think it's a soft free kick anyway, but I think, for me, it's probably not a free kick, but I think if you're giving a free kick there, I can see why you'd give a yellow card because of the position Tottenham were in. I don't think Harry Kane has a right to be complaining about it. I think earlier on he made the most of a challenge himself. He was trying to get people booked and he ended up getting exactly what he wanted. And I think it's actually affected the way Newcastle are playing, the way that Dan Burn's now on a yellow card. He's pulling out of challenges, he's moving his positioning, and I don't think Tottenham would be 3-1 up if it wasn't for Dan Burn being on a yellow card.
I think that there's certainly some truth in that, but here comes the free kick from Son, a bit too close to the back. I agree. I think that as soon as you get Dan Burn on a yellow, with the amount of pace in that Spurs attack, Kulusevski and Son, Kane's a tricky player, not sort of blistering pace, but he's a quick player as well, of course, and all of a sudden it just puts a little bit more pressure on Dan Burn. And Fabian Schar, as I say, he's a ball-playing centre-back. He's a good defender, but I sometimes think that he's almost got more midfield qualities than he has defensive qualities, really. Newcastle in possession now in midfield with Joe Willock over towards Javi Manquillo on the right-hand side. Back to Willock, pressing here from Bentancur. Ball now going back towards Schar and Burn. 57 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. A couple of quick goals for Spurs at the start of the second half. They now lead this game by 3-1. And here is Alan Saint-Maximin down the left-hand side, plays it to Joe Linton, but Romero in the right place at the right time. Once again, Kulusevski finding Kane, who nutmegs Dan Burn, but then is pushed off the ball by Willock. No free kick given. And here come Newcastle now as Højbjerg dives in against nowhere near Saint-Maximin. Saint-Maximin then tries to thread the ball to Willock. Little bit of miscommunication there. It was the right idea from Willock, and the right idea from Saint-Maximin is just that the ball needed to be in front of Willock, not behind him.
Yeah, Joe Willock's making a run, and I think you either have to give the ball to him about 3 seconds before that, whilst he's running onto it, or you have to use his run that he is making as a complete dummy run and take it yourself. In the end, Saint-Maximin gets caught between the two, and they just have crossed wires.
Well, here comes Heung-min Son, one of those great runs from the halfway line to find Harry Kane. Kane breaking into the box. Good challenge from Fabian Schar. This time the angle was quite tight for Harry Kane as well. He's able to recycle that ball and go back to Doherty. Now it's with Bentancur, square to Højbjerg. Bentancur over towards Harry Kane. Newcastle trying to play high with an offside line just at the edge of the area. The ball looking for Emerson Royal, but that's a good header away by Matt Target. Out for a throw to Spurs, and Newcastle are going to make a double change here with Bruno Guimaraes and Jacob Murphy getting ready to come on. It's going to be Joe Linton to go off to be replaced by Jacob Murphy, or indeed by Guimaraes. I actually think it's more like the Guimaraes should go into that midfield three, although the graphic we've just seen suggests that it might be. But the other player to go off here is Javi Manquillo, and he will be replaced by Jacob Murphy. So that makes a little bit more sense. Murphy can very much play on that right-hand side. Whether or not he's going to be the right back, or whether they might ask Fraser to drop a little bit deeper now. But Bruno Guimaraes into midfield. He's had a couple of good games already. We both sort of thought he might have actually had a start today.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where we spoke about earlier, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But also, he is a step above a lot of these Newcastle players. He is a top quality player. He's done fantastic things in the European football, and he's going to be a big part of this team going forward. You could maybe look at Vincent Kompany at Man City and say, could he be the Vincent Kompany? Could he be the player that they're going to start building their squad around? And yes, he's not a goal scorer, but on the transition, he's one of the best midfielders in European football at the moment. And if he can pick up the ball from a deeper position and move it forward for Newcastle, maybe it's a chance for them to get back into this game.
Certainly is. Cameron now focusing on John Joe Shelby, because if Newcastle are going to get back into this game, he's going to have a big part in it, you feel. But Spurs give it away. A couple of loose balls from Spurs in midfield, and all of a sudden Newcastle have got a chance here as the ball gets whipped in by Target, and it's volleyed clear. That's going to be a corner kick to Newcastle. Ben Davies getting on the end of it. Seems to have felt that a little bit as he tried to go off it, but it was a loose ball, well picked off there by Target, and all of a sudden that left-hand side just opened up for Newcastle.
Yeah, it opens up. I think when Saint-Maximin's cutting in on his right foot, he's dragging a lot of defenders in with him, and it's opening that space up on the left-hand side. We saw Willock moments ago making that overlapping run, and then Targett doing the same thing. And I think if they can keep overloading that side, you're going to create space.
Absolutely, as it's a corner kick whipped in by Ryan Fraser. Both sets of players with their hands up, but the decision goes the way of the visitors. It's going to be another corner kick, but it's going to be from the other side, from the right-hand side this time. So we'll see if there's going to be an in-swinger now from Matt Targett. Yes, he has. He's come across to this right-hand side as Newcastle look. And it's going to be whipped in now by the former Villa man. Plenty of pushing and shoving inside that 6-yard box as the ball comes in towards Fabian Schar. It comes off a Spurs head, I think, but Targett decides to go for it, and he's in an offside position as he puts that ball in. So it must have been a Newcastle player that got his head to that then. And the linesman on that side getting a bit of an earful from the Newcastle fans stood just behind him.
Yeah, not particularly happy with that decision, some of the Newcastle fans on our pitches. But if it has come off a Newcastle head, then Matt Targett was most definitely offside. Question mark over whether it did or whether it came off as a Spurs head. But it is a free kick, and they'll just take it short to Hugo Lloris.
They do, which is a bit of a strange choice because there are 4 Newcastle players still in and around the Spurs penalty area, and then it's a bit of trouble here for Davies. Just about keeps the ball in play, clears it up to the halfway line. Kane runs straight into Fabian Schar, but gets away from him now. Schar trying to stop Kane, and in the end, Kane still keeps the ball, and he tries to play a ball now looking for Emerson Royal. That's stopped by Matt Targett. Guimaraes then loses the ball in midfield. Shelvey is there though to mop up, but his clearance goes straight to Højbjerg, and Spurs once again have the ball back here in midfield. It's with Christian Romero. Up towards Kulusevski, back to Romero. Great ball with the outside of the boot as well there from Romero to play Kulusevski into space down the right-hand side. He then puts a left-footed cross in, which is too close to Jacob Murphy, so he has got into that right-back position there, Murphy. And the ball now back with Højbjerg and Bentancur. Back to Dyer, now over towards Davies on the left-hand side. Newcastle trying to press as high as they can. It's a difficult one for Newcastle because they're 3-1 down. They're not out of the game yet, but they know if they concede again, they definitely are. So they don't want to sit too deep, but also they can't press too high. We'll get to your thoughts on that in a second, Josh, because here come Newcastle again with Guimaraes finding Fraser. Fraser's ball is just too short for Wood. Is that Wood moving too far away from where the ball was, or is it Fraser not picking out his teammate? In any case, the ball is lost, and now Spurs can go on the attack here as Romero brings the ball out. He finds Kulusevski down the right-hand side. Kulusevski getting to the edge of the area. Oh, he tries to throw the ball through to Kane. It's stopped by Shelby, but it goes back to Kulusevski. Keeps it alive inside the penalty area. Now it's with Christian Romero. He's got Guimaraes there for company, so he goes back towards Kulusevski. And then Bentancur forced to go back towards the halfway line where Eric Dyer is waiting. He plays it square now towards Ben Davies. Now it's with Højbjerg to Romero. He then finds Kulusevski moving forward. Now it's with Heung-min Son. He gets to the edge of the area, looks for options. One of them is down the left-hand side with Doherty. Plays a quick 1-2 with Kulusevski. Doherty then cuts it onto his right foot. And it's with Emerson Royal, and he puts the ball into the back of the net. He only just about got his foot to it. And there was a Newcastle player trying to stop him, but it is the Brazilian that makes it 4-1.
Well, they're just being absolutely pulled to pieces at the moment. Newcastle's defence is just not good enough. You were about to start a conversation about a minute ago. You're 3-1 down. Your only option is to go and search for that goal. But if you do that against this Tottenham side that has so much attacking ability and the likes of Kane who can find the pass or score a goal, they're just going to overload you. They're just going to make it backs against the wall every time they're attacking. That's exactly what they do here. It's a bit of a percentage cross. In fact, actually, it takes a big deflection that Emerson Royal then gets on the end of.
He does, but look at the way Murphy gets beaten to the ball here by Doherty. That was Murphy's ball. Doherty shouldn't even be getting on the end of that. I just wonder if Manquillo, or indeed if Emil Kraft was on the field now, the regular right-backs for Newcastle, if potentially they could have done something to stop that. Murphy's on to give them a bit more of an attacking edge on that right-hand side, but he's still got to do some defending, and he didn't do any defending there.
Yeah, it's all you can. Tottenham have been great, and with all due respect to Tottenham, they have been great, but Newcastle's defence this second half has been calamitous.
It has been, yeah, it's been very disjointed, and that's why Eddie Howe we just saw there a little bit crestfallen as to how his side have fallen away. And it's only the 64th minute as well, so it could still get worse here for Newcastle if they don't step up soon. But meanwhile, it is Spurs in possession deep inside their own half. It's Doherty to Højbjerg. Højbjerg then finds Kane. He then rolls that ball in towards Emerson. Back heel, back to Harry Kane. He looks up to see where Heung-min Son is, and Son is in acres of space. He takes it down first time. Son to make it 5. Oh, he's put it wide. It should be 5-0, and the smart money would have been that Son would have scored that.
Absolutely. What a pass from Harry Kane again. That run off the ball from Heung-min Son when Harry Kane drops deep and gets his head up is something that they do game after game after game, and people just cannot stop it. It goes over the top. Fantastic touch from Son to get it down, and as you say, you're just expecting him to pot that in the back of the net and make it 5-1. Good night, end of the game, thank you very much. But he doesn't quite manage it. There's still a crack in the door for Newcastle, but it's a very, very small one.
It is a very small one, and I've got to say, if they're going to if they're going to push this high up and leave that much space behind, they're going to concede a 5th goal sooner or later in Newcastle. It's not a clean strike from Son as well. You've got to say that. He's just not quite put his left foot through the ball. But Newcastle now pushing forward here with John Joe Shelvey. There's a bit of space here down the left for Sam Maximan. He then rolls the ball into Fraser. Fraser, though, he loses his balance as he was trying to put that cross in. He needed to get that square to Wood, but he pretty much just rolled it straight to Lloris.
Yeah, he's just stretching to try and play the ball in, and in doing that, it's rolled off his foot at the wrong angle and it goes straight into Lloris's hands. But when they do come forward on that left-hand side, there's options to the left and on the overlaps, but there doesn't seem to be anyone getting into the middle to get on the end of those balls.
No, there wasn't, and that's just been the problem. I think that Newcastle have just gone into their shell a little bit now with these 3 goals conceded inside the first 20 minutes of the second half. It's with Bentancur now to Kane, who is... was that Kane brought down? It might well have been, but the ball... In fact, it was Kulusevski that was brought down there by Dan Burn. Spurs are the league leaders for goals scored in 2022. Which bodes very well for Spurs. They're still very much fighting for this top 4 finish. We're going to get a break in play here now, as it looks as though Kulusevski is still down.
Yeah, he looks badly hurt, and maybe not in this game because they're 4-1 up. But if this is a nasty injury, then this will be a big blow for Tottenham. He's been so important since joining on loan from Juventus. Obviously, it looks like it's going to be a deal that they'll make permanent at the end of that loan. There's obligations and all sorts of clauses, and the way he's playing, even if it's not an obligation, you'd expect them to pay whatever fee Juventus
I think so, yeah. I think that certainly Juventus weren't expect. Well, let's say they weren't expecting him to come out. I think the plan was that he gets a bit of first-team football, and then he does actually sign for Spurs permanently. As Antonio Conte there is still furiously trying to pass on some messages to Emerson Royal. You think that Spurs were 4-1 down the way that Conte is shouting at his defender there?
He's such an emotional manager, and it's obviously a big part of the way he gets the best out of his players, because they are truly a completely different outfit under Antonio Conte. As we just see that as the results stand at the moment, Tottenham leapfrog Arsenal into 4th place.
They do, although they have the same number of points, the same goal difference, just that Spurs have more goals scored than Arsenal, which is why they go ahead of the Gunners. But the Gunners do have 2 games in hand. One of those games in hand is available on our service tomorrow night when they play away at Palace, which is certainly not a foregone conclusion. Patrick Vieira's side have been tough to beat at home this season, as Newcastle go on the attack down the right-hand side. A ball fired in down the right channel there for... Ryan Fraser to chase, but Hugo Lloris is there, comfortably makes the save. So we're over the 3-quarter mark in this game. Tottenham now leading against Newcastle United by 4 goals to 1, and it will be Josh to take us through to full time.
Yeah, 4-1 to Tottenham after a real impressive attacking display in this second half, going in at half-time 1-1, coming out and scoring 3 goals in pretty quick succession to pretty much do everything but put this game to bed so far. They've only got to hold on for another 23 minutes, including added time, as Alisson Maximan has the ball on the left-hand side. He's got options to his right. Joe Willock just lays the ball off to Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes gives the ball to Alisson Maximan. Guimaraes, he's got options to his right-hand side. He's in the centre of the pitch. I'm not quite sure, is it Kulusevski's gone down under some contact from him. Gives the ball to Jacob Murphy. Guimaraes plays it back into the middle, and there's a head from Joe Willock, but it's just glanced over the bar. But straight away you can see when Bruno Guimaraes gets on the ball, and he's playing 1-2s with the players around him. He creates space, he creates options, and he whips a great ball in, and Joe Willock just can't quite get the header on target.
Well, he does well there to control the ball. It's Højbjerg that he runs into, and then he just finds a little bit of space over on that right-hand side to pick out Murphy. Murphy then back to Guimaraes. It's a good ball. And ironically, Fraser was completely unmarked just behind Willock. He might have actually been in a slightly better position to do something with that, as Newcastle getting ready to make a third change. But this is an interesting change. It's going to be Chris Wood to go off and Jamal Lascelles to come on. So is this damage limitation now from Eddie Howe?
I mean, that has to be. You're taking off your striker, you're bringing on a centre-back. that's nothing but any sort of well, that has to be demonstrated. I've just seen him say there. I can see. I've read his lips. He's just said 5 at the back, so he's going 5 at the back. He's going to put what? Dan Burn, Schar, and
Lascelles. Yeah,
Lascelles.
They'll be as a back three, but here comes Spurs now with Kulusevski getting to the edge of the area.
Yeah, he gives it to Kane, who hits it on the outside of his foot, and it ends up coming off Emerson Royal, who was almost in his way and going out for a goal kick. And I tell you what, if it hadn't come off Emerson Royal there, that could have been one of the best goals Harry Kane's ever scored. He the outside of his boot, aiming for that top left-hand corner.
Absolutely. Kane's got a wry smile on his face. Emerson Royal's pretty much laughing out loud. If that was 0-0, I don't think either of them will be smiling there, because that is a great chance. Kulusevski again finding space at the edge of the area. Little back heel there to Kane. And as you say, he gets a lot of power behind it. You don't often see a shot with that much power with the outside of the boot. It's usually a more of a placed effort, isn't it, really? So that certainly was a very good strike from Kane. But I'm trying to think of the last time I've seen a Premier League game where a team losing makes a defensive change to stop the result being even worse. I can't think of a time where I've seen. I mean, I'm sure it's happened with midfielders and sort of defensive midfielders being replaced by sort of defenders and stuff. But to see your only recognised striker go off to be replaced by a centre-back when you're 4-1 down is unusual from Eddie Howe, I think.
Yeah, unless he's making an argument to say he's going to play Ryan Fraser and Saint-Maximin as strikers, he's going to make Targett and Murphy play up as midfielders, and he's just going to have a straight 3 at the back. But I mean, that's some interesting formation if that is. It is,
yeah. That's certainly that's an intriguing combination there from Eddie Howe. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out. We've just got just under 20 minutes to go in this game now.
You see Dan Burn pushing up as Dubravka plays the ball out to John Joe Shelvey. Shelvey tries to play a 1-2 with Jacob Murphy. He's taken down by Ben Davies, and finally the referee blows his whistle after Newcastle arms fly up in the area. Bruno Guimaraes as well was taken down by Ben Davies. He'd gone in and taken 2 out in 2 successive fouls. No card given to Ben Davies in the process, though, and Newcastle take the short free kick. Dan Burn ends up giving it to Joe Willock. Joe Willock back to Burn and to Shelvey, who spreads the play wide right, and there's a little bit of space down that side, but Tottenham doing well to sit behind the ball. Guimaraes now on the ball round about the centre circle. He's got options in front of him, but a well-drilled Tottenham midfield and defence all sat in the way, trying to block off any sort of passing avenues, and they forced him to go back to Jamal Lascelles, who himself has had probably his toughest season in a Newcastle shirt. He was quite often recognised as one of their best players, but ended up losing his place this season. Not really had his best outfit. Just sloppy pass from Dan Burn that goes straight out for a throw-in to Tottenham, as we see them looking to maybe make a attacking substitution and add insult to injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Newcastle have used all 3 of their subs. Spurs are now getting ready to make their first, and it's going to be Lucas Moura. And so I'm thinking potentially maybe for Kulusevski, who's had that knock, or maybe for Son or Kane just to preserve them. But Newcastle go forward now with Saint-Maximin. Ball is partially cleared but kept alive here by Fraser.
Is kept alive, and now Schar has the ball. He plays it wide to Fraser again. Fraser to Saint-Maximin, who's now over on that right-hand side trying to square up against the Tottenham defenders. Guimaraes goes down under the pressure of Højbjerg, and the referee gives it as a free kick. It looked like a foul to me. He just sticks his leg in behind the Brazilian, and the Brazilian goes down to the floor, and a chance for Newcastle to try and find someone in the box.
No, he didn't get the ball there at all, so I think it is the right call. Højbjerg, a bit of a quieter game for him today, although he has been pretty much ever present for Antonio Conte in that defensive midfield role. And Shelvey, well, it's slightly over on the right-hand side, so it may not suit the right-footed. This could be a cross here from Shelvey as well.
Yeah, I think you'd imagine so from this sort of distance. It's really quite far out, about 35 yards out from goal. I think you'd probably be expecting him to float this in. However, it is John Joe Shelvey, and he can hit them from this distance. He does float it in. It's gone towards the back post where Lascelles nods it back across the face of goal, but it is cleared away by Tottenham. It falls to Heung-min Son, and then he sweeps it wide to Kulusevski. He's got plenty of space to run into in front of him, but Saint-Maximin comes back to help out defensively for Newcastle and does so well to dispossess Kulusevski, and he's going to try to go forward himself, but then Romero takes down Saint-Maximin, and something's just happened off the ball further away. I'm not sure quite who it is down on the floor holding their face. I think it could be Emerson Royal. It is.
It is, yeah. Well, Eric Dyer ran to the referee pointing towards the Newcastle half. Is he trying to tell the referee that somebody has done this to Emerson Royal deliberately? We'll have to wait and see. We certainly didn't see anything live. Obviously, the pictures we get follow the ball, but something must have happened off the ball here. We'll just keep an eye on where Emerson is, and it's Dan Burn on a yellow card. I mean, again, I'm not saying that's going to be a yellow card immediately, and I'm not sure that VAR can even say anything to the referee because it's only a yellow. That would never be a red.
2 yellows.
But at the same time, why is Burn doing that when he's on a yellow card? It's almost like he's asking for trouble there.
I think if the referee sees that, that's a second yellow card and he's got to go off.
I agree, yeah.
But he doesn't see it, so that it can't be intervened with. And we're just seeing the first of 2 substitutions for Tottenham. The first is going to be that Rodrigo Bentancur is leaving the pitch. And it looks as if it's going to be Harry Winks that is coming on for him. Lucas Moura is also going to be coming on. We just wait a confirmation for exactly who he's going to be coming on for. So Bentancur goes off. He was on a yellow card, so maybe a bit of smart thinking there from Conte with this game pretty much all but in the bag for Tottenham. And it is Kulusevski who is going to go off. So the pair from Juventus will leave the pitch, and Harry Winks and Lucas Moura enter the frame for Tottenham.
Absolutely, Lucas Moura. Very good attacking player. Not really had enough. He's had enough chances. He just doesn't really have that consistency to stay in that team week in, week out. Harry Winks, of course, was flirting with the England squad at one stage, but now because of the arrivals at Spurs, he's just been pushed down the pecking order a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, he has. Himself and Oliver Skipp both not really getting a look in at Tottenham, given the signings in January and the way they've been playing recently under Antonio Conte. Emerson Royal doing well to find a pass there to help Tottenham break away, but in the end it's just a long percentage ball that lands at the feet of Jamal Lascelles and gives Newcastle an opportunity to try and go forward themselves. Dan Burn has really come over onto this left-hand side since the addition of Lascelles into that back three, and he's playing that tallest left back in the league role you mentioned earlier that he used to play at Brighton.
He is, yeah. He's gone back to that role now as Newcastle try and do something just to at least make it a little bit more interesting in these last 14 minutes or so. But they're just not able to keep that ball. It's been a problem for them pretty much throughout the game, really. They've just not been able to keep that ball in midfield for long enough to really upset Spurs.
Yeah, this will be a result so far as well, if it stays this way, that Newcastle fans will feel might be a bit of a culture shock after going on such a great run of form. To lose 2 games in a row, this would be their third, and it'd be such a negative result as
also, it's the fact that they've lost in the style that they have. They were unlucky to lose 1-0 away at Chelsea, even more unlucky to lose 1-0 away at Everton, but they've been comprehensively beaten today.
Absolutely, especially in the second half. I think they probably put up a good enough fight in the first half to deservedly go in level, but this second half has been dire from a Newcastle perspective.
Yeah, and they're back in action on Friday night in a game that will be available on our service. 8 o'clock kickoff at home to Wolves, and that's certainly not going to be a walkover for Newcastle by any stretch. Spurs' next game is against Aston Villa, and that will be next Saturday. But certainly from Newcastle's point of view, a defeat today, they won't say they're suddenly right back in relegation trouble, but depending on what result happens in the Burnley-Everton game that's going to be played in midweek, all of a sudden there could be that bit more pressure on them by Friday.
Absolutely, lots of pressure on them, and the teams around them will be thinking, this is another team that could be dragged back into the battle, the likes of Leeds. And
yeah, absolutely. Bearing in mind that Watford play Leeds at home next weekend, and then Watford play Brentford at home the week after. So a lot could be happening around Newcastle. If they start dropping points, then things could start to turn south for them.
Absolutely, and it's a fan base that'll get behind their team if they do end up falling back into those relegation places. But at the moment, they'll be safe for it, but they're not safe in this game. 4-1 down, 78 minutes played, and Tottenham have the ball now on a halfway line with Heung-min Son. He's just going to try and run at Newcastle on the left-hand side. He plays it back in the end to Ben Davies. Davies lays it off to Winks. Højbjerg in the centre circle, little pass back to Eric Dyer, and he spreads it wide to Romero, who's been very impressive since joining Tottenham in the summer. Højbjerg, lovely breaking line pass through to Harry Kane. He's got runners off the ball, and he's so dangerous when he does have those runners. He plays it wide left to Son. Son's one-on-one with Ryan Fraser. He then cuts in on his right foot. He's got options available behind him. He gives it to Winks. Winks goes from distance, and it just goes past the post. Harry Winks from distance. It looked speculative. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near the goal, but it dips at the last moment, and it's almost gone in for 5-1.
It has, and as I say, it starts off right up until the last second. That ball always seems too high, curling away from goal, but then it starts to dip. Those Spurs fans behind the goal as well, getting very excited before they realised it was going wide. Final change being readied here for Spurs. It looks like it's going to be Steven Bergwijn.
Yeah, Steven Bergwijn looking to come on the pitch for Tottenham. We're still trying to find out when that will happen. At the moment, we're seeing pictures on our screen of the Tottenham fans not giving the ball back and just throwing it around. I'm not sure why they're doing this. They're 4-1 up. Get the game over and done with.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I say, it's just a little bit of time wasting there, waiting until a second ball is found just so that Dubravka has to delay taking his goal kick. Just the Spurs fans are enjoying themselves a bit, but it's been a good afternoon for them, and they rode out a little bit because at times in the first half it wasn't all Spurs' way at all.
No, absolutely not, and it'll be a confidence-boosting victory for Tottenham should it stay this way. And as we say, Steven Bergwijn still waiting on the sideline to come on. You'd imagine it would probably be for Heung-min Son. You'd want him to stay fit, stay uninjured. I mean, it could be for Harry Kane. Maybe you put Son up front, maybe you play Bergwijn as a centre-forward. We'll wait and see, but it's a substitution that I imagine will be to help keep legs fresh and avoid any injuries, as Joe Willock tries to go forward here for Newcastle, but he's tackled by substitute Lucas Moura. It goes out on the left-hand side, and Matt Targett will have to wait to take his throw in as they wait for the substitution to be made. And I tell you what, I got it completely wrong. It's Emerson Royal who's
interesting, yeah. So he's going to try and perhaps ask Bergwijn to play in that midfield four. Can't really see Moura, Son or Kane being asked to drop into that midfield four, so he's going to go into that role. Bergwijn, he scored a couple of big goals, I suppose. Of course, he scored that winner in that mad finish towards the end of the game away at Leicester a little while ago.
Yeah, he's a erratic player, Steven Bergwijn, to say the least. He's a player who, when he's on the ball, looks very dangerous, but has fluctuating form. He can be.
Yeah, it's been a problem for him since he's arrived in England that he's just not been able to keep that form consistent enough to get into the team. Decent performance though today from Emerson Royal, I thought.
Yeah, I think everyone in the Tottenham shirt has played well today. They've deserved the 3 points that they will most likely get, barring some sort of miracle in the remaining 9 minutes of this game. And they've been a solid outfit, and they've looked like an Antonio Conte team that takes advantage of mistakes, that presses high, that keep hold of the ball and play sensible football when they're ahead. And that's what they've done, and they're doing it at the moment as they pass the ball around the back with Romero. He's put under a bit of pressure by Willock, but comfortably just knocks the ball across to Eric Dyer, who will just play a little 1-2 with Harry Winks as the pressure from Newcastle has really calmed down over the last 10 minutes or so. There was a lot of a higher press. They were trying to force some sort of mistake, but I think they probably look a beaten team, Newcastle, knowing that they're out of this game. Yeah,
I think so. I think that they say they're not going to sort of roll over and just wait for the end of the match. They are still trying to press and make it difficult for Spurs, but psychologically they know that in 8 minutes they're not going to make up a 3-goal deficit here. And it's just a case of trying to put in a professional performance for these final minutes. Don't get any silly yellow cards, which Dan Burn's been very close to getting a second one already. And just make sure that they're ready for that game against the Wolves on Friday night, because that'll be a big game at St James's.
Absolutely, it will. And as I'm just looking at the pictures, it doesn't look like Bergwijn is going to slot into that position. It looks like he's playing up front in a 2 with Harry Kane.
So does that mean that Lucas Moura perhaps has dropped into that midfield 4? It may well be that he's just gone a little bit deeper. At this stage, it's Spurs in comfortable possession. They're not really trying to get forward. They're just trying to keep the ball away from Newcastle, as Lloris's long clearance does actually get picked off by Fabian Schar. So at least a moment of possession now for Newcastle.
Yeah, and it will be Lascelles that has it. He's giving it to Dan Burn, who goes straight back to Dubravka because there's a bit of a press on from Lucas Moura. The players who are geared up and have the energy like Bergwijn and Moura are the ones that are putting Newcastle under a bit of pressure. But as I say that, they lose the ball through. Eric Dyer loses the ball, gets the ball back for Tottenham, and it is Steven Bergwijn who's managed to go through his one-on-one with Dubravka, and he's slotted it in the bottom left-hand corner, and the substitute comes on and scores. It's 5-1 to Tottenham, and that's it. It's got to be over now.
Yeah, the classic Bergwijn celebration there. Takes his glove off and covers his face. That's his little thing when he scores, and he's been scoring goals for Conte. He's come off the bench and scored a couple of big goals. This one's more just the icing on the cake, but it's great for Bergwijn, great for Conte as well to know that he's got players coming off the bench, only need a few minutes on the field and they get a goal.
He's done so well there, Bergwijn, to get into that position, but it all comes from a drilled pass into Saint-Maximin that he can't quite get under control. Eric Dyer forces a tackle on it, and then Dan Burn just... I think he's actually probably made another foul on Lucas Moura, but in the end, Moura manages to get the pass off. It's Son that gives the ball to Moura. Moura just knocks it through the legs of Lascelles and it's through one-on-one.
I'll tell you what's interesting is that as that foul is committed by Dan Burn, the referee actually puts his hand up to say I've given an advantage, so potentially Burn would have been looking at a second yellow there. Interesting enough as well, Ryan Fraser was charging back to try and help in defence, and it's actually him that plays Bergwijn on side. Had it not been for him, I think Bergwijn might have been close. I don't think he would have been miles off, but it could have been a lot closer. But the Dutchman delighted, as are the Spurs fans behind the goal, with 6 minutes to play, and Spurs now lead 5-1.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't underestimate how big of a confidence boost this will be for Spurs going forward in their battle for the top four. It's something that a lot of people have written themselves and Man United off, but with these sorts of performances, Tottenham look well in there. As Bergwijn tries one from distance, and it's just dropped over his shoulder. He's tried to volley it from just inside the area, and it's gone right over the bar, but only just. And he throws his gloves away because he's on fire. He doesn't need them anymore.
He doesn't need them anymore. No, he's warmed up now, Bergwijn, and that's a great ball over the top to find him. And he just lets it bounce once. He turns and hits it full on the volley, and that's not a bad effort at all. It's just a little bit over the bar. Dubravka was diving just underneath it, so had it been on target, you would have expected him to make the save. But Spurs, you see, once again, it's the high energy from Antonio Conte's side. Spurs lead 5-1. Newcastle took a short goal kick, and there were 4 Spurs players pressing there.
Yeah, Shelby plays a long ball down the right-hand side to Saint-Maximin, who switched over to that wing when the back 5 was changed when Lascelles came on, and Dan Burn just gives it to Guimaraes. Guimaraes has got Saint-Maximin on that right-hand side. He manages to find him, and there's a chance now for Newcastle to maybe get a goal back as Maximin plays the ball through into the middle. It's headed away by Harry Winks, but only as far as Shelby. He couldn't quite get the pass back in, and then it's ended up cleared away, but only as far as Jamal Lascelles, just inside Newcastle's own half. He gives it back to Guimaraes. Guimaraes has Willock on his right, Murphy on the right-hand side. He gives it to Saint-Maximin. Back to Murphy. He can play the ball back in the middle towards Shelby.
Handball.
It goes back, and there's got to be a handball there, surely. There's calls for it. Giorgio Shelby puts his hands up. The Newcastle fans are pretty adamant. The players look adamant there was a handball, but nothing's been given.
Nothing's been given yet. I do wonder whether VAR can have a look at this now, as the ball is just in play here with Spurs in possession inside their own box. It did look as though it struck the player on the arm there. Referee didn't see it live. It's not like there was a huge appeal from the Newcastle players. I do wonder if that's just because of the scoreline at the moment. If this was 0-0, perhaps they would have appealed it a little bit more. But Shelby just shouting at the referee there as Lucas Moura starts this run, and it's Spurs on the attack.
Yeah, Moura's just jogged straight past him, and the ball come in the middle from Son. And Kane was the one that was going to try and run onto it, but in the end it's played a little bit too close to Martin Dubravka, who can come out and collect it. But yet to see any sort of...
No, we've not seen a replay. Dubravka held onto the ball. The referee could have asked him to wait and see, but he's decided that, obviously VR have decided. Stats for the second half: 9 shots from Spurs, 4 on target, 4 shots from Newcastle, none of them on target. Spurs with 57% possession to Newcastle's 43%. So it's not been a dominant performance, but Spurs have been clinical.
Absolutely. If we're saying there's no shots on target from Newcastle, not been their best performance at all. So Maximin, though, trying to just jog through a few players, and he tries to play a ball through in the middle to Jacob Murphy, and he can't quite get on the end of it. Murphy, who's playing in such an advanced role now compared to what he was playing when he first came on. And the ball now with Tottenham on the right-hand side with Doherty. Doherty's got plenty of time and space, not too much in the way of anyone trying to tackle him. 87 minutes have been played in this game. It's 5-1 to Tottenham. It was 1-1 at half-time. A crazy start to the second half where Tottenham just seemed to completely run away with this game. Harry Kane plays that signature long switch of the ball over to Son. He's one-on-one with Fraser. He then cuts in on his right foot, tries to get a shot away, but Fraser does well to get back in the way of it and win it back. And then the ball's cleared up to Saint-Maximin, but he's offside as he tries to do something special. Bit of nice footwork to try and beat Eric Dyer, but the flag was up and he's given offside. But that pass from Harry Kane to Heung-min Son, everybody knows they do it. Everybody knows that Son makes those runs off it. Everyone knows that when Kane drops in, that's what he's looking for. But you just can't stop it.
You can't, because you either send too many players forward, which makes it easier to play that long ball, or you keep everyone sat back, which means that nobody's going to be offside. So it's one of those situations where you almost know that there's going to be passes like that, and you've just got to be as well organised as you can to try and mark the player, but also not give him too much space to be onside.
It's been very impressive today, Harry Kane, as have every single one of Tottenham's players, to be honest. It's Lucas Moura that's charging through the midfield at the moment, but he's just overran that one slightly, and the ball falls straight to Fabian Schar, who clears it, but it's only gone as far as Harry Winks. He's dispossessed by Jonjo Shelvey, who then gives the ball to Jacob Murphy, who then is dispossessed by Bergwijn, and then finally it ends up at the feet of Harry Winks once again, and he calmly gives the ball to Ben Davies as Tottenham finally just sort of calm it down, as it was a bit pinball-esque for a moment there. Doherty has it on the right-hand side, just lays it back to Romero. Romero, a little chip pass through to Harry Winks, and it's just easy, simple passes now from Tottenham. They don't have very long to wait until the victory and the 3 points are theirs at all.
No, it's a minute of regulation time, then we'll have a bit of injury time. I can't imagine there'll be more than maybe 3, maybe 4 minutes. They might even do less than that with the scoreline being what it is. But as I say, it's been a really solid performance from Spurs, and as I say, they're still very much fighting for that third place.
They are indeed, and they'll take a lot of confidence from this, and they'll move forward with this result in mind. They still have to play Arsenal, of course, who you would say are their main competitors for that top 4 spaces. The ball's just fallen to Saint-Maximin, who had a great opportunity to find a pass or a shot, but he slipped on the ball, and it just sums up Newcastle's
It absolutely does, Josh. I was about to say that. It just sums up how Newcastle's afternoon has been in front of goal there, as Spurs go forward, potentially hunting for a 6th.
Yeah, it's Kane. He's got Son to his left. The two partner up again as Kane does offload it to Son, and then he gives it back to the England captain, who shoots from distance, and it goes just wide of the left post. And it was a fantastic effort from Harry Kane. He's one of those strikers, like Alan Shearer was. He can be a man stood on the penalty spot trying to get on the end of something, or he can shoot from distance, and he almost added another one to his tally there. As we get confirmation, there will be 3 minutes of added time in this game, so just 3 minutes until Tottenham walk away with these 3 points. It's going to be a long 3 minutes for Newcastle, I'm sure.
It is, yeah. I mean, again, Newcastle wanting to play out from the back. Too many Spurs players close by, but in the end, Dubravka does decide to play it to Lascelles, then straight back to Dubravka. Not sure that there was any point in that, because Dubravka has to clear it long now anyway. But yeah, it's one of those games, I think, where Newcastle don't want to spend too long sort of analysing it and worrying about it too much. They've just got to put it down as a bad day in the office, and also be very aware of the fact that their defensive organisation in the second half, even without that much pressure from Spurs, just went completely to pot.
Absolutely, and Guimaraes has the ball now. Maybe they could get some sort of consolation goal and try and think of it as a positive way to end this game. Guimaraes gives it back to Dan Burn. Burn plays it wide to Target. Goes back to Guimaraes. He's one-on-one with Højbjerg, trying to beat him, but in the end goes left to Dan Burn, and he's done well to shake off Højbjerg again. Guimaraes, and Shelvey spreads the ball wide to Saint-Maximin on the right-hand side. He's got Murphy making a run, but I think he was probably offside. He tried to make his run, then he sort of hesitated, and in doing so found himself offside, and Son's just gone down.
Yeah, well, there was no challenge there on Heung-min Son. He's just felt a bit of pain there in his is it right ankle, it looks like? Being helped up now by Ben Davies. We'll just see again here. Is there any contact from Murphy? Well, just he treads onto the on the toe end of Heung-min Son. Just a bit of a delayed pain reaction there from Son, but no malice there. Murphy with a quick handshake as well.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those ones where he's not trying to claim a foul, Son. He's just gone down in pain, and I think sometimes you have to do it rather dramatically for the referee to try and stop the game. So sometimes that's what the players have to do, as Kane plays that signature ball once again on the left-hand side to Son, and this time it's dealt with well by Ryan Fraser, I think, who came across on that side to get the ball, nick the ball away from Son, and just 1 minute remaining of added time now, and with those 60 seconds left, how do you sum up how this game went in the second half, and the reasons why there's been such a capitulation defensively from Newcastle?
I think it's a combination of Spurs being right up for it, and I think that the problem is that Spurs came out in the second half with an attacking intent. Newcastle, being the visiting team, just weren't able to respond in those first few minutes, and before you knew it, it was 2-1, then 3-1, and all of a sudden the game just got away from Newcastle. But they'll have to look back on the fact that they could have perhaps taken advantage of a few weaker moments from Spurs in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Newcastle probably were good value for the draw at half-time, but certainly deserved to be on the end of this thrashing, you could call it now, by the end of the 90 minutes. And just a matter of seconds remaining as Lucas Moura tries to skip away from Newcastle, but it's won back by Guimaraes, and so Maximin will run at the Tottenham defence, probably for the last time in this game, as time is up, but we're waiting for the referee to blow his whistle. The ball goes out just about halfway through Tottenham's half, and just awaiting that whistle being blown now. The time has gone. It's 5-1. Surely the referee is going to blow his whistle, but it's been a great afternoon for Tottenham, and one that doesn't quite drag Newcastle into the relegation battle again, but it makes
but it just, I think,
a lot harder.
Yeah, it just reminds them that they're still there or thereabouts. They've still got to do a little bit more work as the full-time whistle goes. It's all over here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham getting a comprehensive win against Newcastle, beating them by 5-1. Myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Josh Hall, thank you very much, and join us again soon.